I love Texas.
Right,
It,
right,
it,
right, right,
it
right,
was wonderful. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, people, we back. Transition with Purpose Live. I'm with my boy Big L, CMC retired Lloyd Roberts. Him and I came up in the beginning of the Navy, beginning early days. AOs together. Then he jumped out and said, "Hey, he wanted to start recruiting." And from recruiting, so we started out in Hawaii. Let me start there. He started out
yeah,
in
yeah.
Hawaii, then went to New York, like that whole New York back home. I'm back home in New York City doing the recruiting thing. Then you went to Philly.
Yeah.
From Philly, what was it after that? San Diego or
Went to
St. Louis?
LA.
He went
LA.
to LA, LA,
Yeah.
LA. So he
Compton.
hit now. Listen to these places that I'm telling that this guy is living at, and so you seen some changes in pay. You know, you was in some cities that was giving out a lot of BH. But then you go out to LA. Then from LA you back in that St. Louis,
Houston.
oh, Rich,
Hit Houston. Went to
Houston, yeah,
Houston
Houston,
after that.
Houston.
Texas.
After that, Houston, Texas. A lot of good benefits breaks for veterans out there. I
Yeah.
know Texas is one of them states.
Yeah.
Then from there was that Richmond,
I
Virginia.
went to Richmond. Oh yeah,
Richmond,
Richmond,
Virginia.
Virginia.
I forget. I ain't forget. So you're in Richmond, Virginia. Then Richmond, then St. Louis,
Yeah.
and then Jacksonville, Florida.
No, no, and then back to LA.
Back to LA.
Yeah, as a
Oh
CMC.
wow. As a
Hmm.
CMC.
Yeah.
Okay. And then from there went to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you hit a lot of major cities, man.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of
oh yeah.
major cities.
And
A
in
lot of
those
major cities.
places, and in those places, I got to really spend time in the surrounding states because you just
Mm-hmm.
didn't, especially as you move up, you're not just gonna be in charge of this little city. So like, when I was in Houston, for instance, we was in charge of like Shreveport, Louisiana, Texarkana, right,
I
right
got
on
you.
the border of Arkansas. So I got to spend a lot of time in those places, leadership, oversight,
Right.
in LA, as a CMC, we covered Japan, Guam,
Mm.
all the
Mm.
Samoan Islands, Hawaii, all the islands of Hawaii, and all up and down the coast of Cali, from
Right.
damn near up in near the base up there in where nobody wants to be stationed. Uh, and then all the way down to like I'm talking Lemoore,
Lemoore, California.
Lemoore
Okay.
all the way
Yeah.
down to like Orange County. So yeah, we get
Okay.
like covered a large area. So yeah, like I was telling you a little while ago, I would have never thought in a million years I would say out of all those places as like a retiree,
Uh
I
huh.
would say probably my number one draft pick would have been like Houston, Texas. To
Really?
be honest, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Why is that?
because it provides the same benefits of it provides the same benefits as like living in Florida with no state tax. Texas does that, but I was just telling JP this, you know, being in Jacksonville, it's super fleet concentrated still, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
oversaturated. And then from my experience, I've been to the Long Beach VA when I was
Mm-hmm.
in LA. I visited. Man, you need something today? We got you. Come on in.
Right.
Doors wide open. There's not a lot of vets there, and I think that was because when they used to have the naval base in Long Beach, naval base shut down, just like how they had the Brooklyn shipyard when we did the BRAC in the '90s. But like Houston, Texas, is wide open. It's not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
military bases or anything there in like
Right.
Houston,
Right.
Texas.
Right.
So you're gonna get services very quickly compared to like a place like here where we oversaturated. A lot of what we do here is out in community care. For those who don't know, that's when the VA can't see you within 30 days. You have to go be referred out in town to be seen in a timely manner. So Houston, Texas, today, let's come on in. We've been waiting on you. Please
Right. Right.
use our
Right.
services.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, we might be able to get you in a couple of months. So let's get you over to community care.
Right.
So for me, from that standpoint, and just you're very special in places where there's not a lot of military, right? And people in general, I remember just being in uniform and people would be like, I got your Starbucks, sir. Thank you for your service.
Right. Right.
And brother,
Right.
love free. I love discounts, love coupons. When I start talking about finances, people will laugh at me as a CMC. I'm on my desk cutting coupons every
Right.
week. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing $80 this week in coupons. That's what I'm doing. That goes right back into the coffers, right?
Right.
So people laugh at me, man.
Yeah.
We had a CMC, I think her name was Brennan, right? And I'm a young third
Yeah.
class
Yeah. Yeah.
AO, and
Yeah.
I used to laugh at her coming outside to the parking lot. She was
Mm-hmm.
driving a jalopy. I felt
Yeah.
like it was gonna fall apart.
Something.
I'm
Oh,
laughing
yeah.
at her. I'm New
Yeah.
York, like, yo,
Yeah.
what are you
Yeah.
doing? You a master shape. And she's like, let me put some game in your ear.
Yeah.
Blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward. The lady owns 2 to 3 subways. The one
Yeah.
on the base, she
The one on
bought
the
that,
base. Mm-hmm.
bought that, boom, boom. I was
Yeah.
like, man, let me
Yeah.
let me get myself together. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so
Right.
fast forward, I'm gonna see if I'm cutting coupons. Sailors coming in, they laughing. They say, look at my man, And I'm telling them they got coupons when you come in the commissary.
Right.
You ever look to the left? No, I never look to the left. I just go look to the left. There's a whole
Right.
box. They got it
Yeah.
organized. You got to save that money. Yeah, it's gonna pay off later on. But yeah,
Oh yeah. And
Houston,
she
Texas.
also owned that monorail in the
Yes,
mall
sir.
in
She had
Hawaii.
a
She owned
portion
part
of
of
that
that.
too.
Yeah, she owned a portion of that too.
Yeah.
That
She
lady
put
was
me on.
stacked. Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
put me
She was
on,
stacked.
man.
She was stacked.
Tight that money up.
Right.
And after her
But didn't
retirement,
drive nothing fancy though. So that was a
no,
good thing.
not while she was active,
Yeah.
but she went and bought a convertible. She showed me the convertible, two
Okay.
seater. She bought
Okay.
right out brand new in cash. She's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Save that money. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah, I
So
hear a
yeah,
lot of great benefits out there in Texas. Period. For veterans. And there's a
yeah.
lot of good states. Like I say, Jackson, Florida is one of them. Texas, I know. Pennsylvania gives benefits.
Hmm.
Illinois. There's a lot of states out there, but a lot of states going to tax you if it's really heavy, like military heavy. Virginia's not good, but they know what they're doing, so you can't even. If you stay in Virginia, that's your option. That's your
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
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 that's your
yeah,
choice. So
yeah. Same thing. Like my older brother lived. He retired Navy.
mm-hmm.
Did his 20 years. He lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we talk about comparisons on just the tax benefits. And in North Carolina, it doesn't give as much as far as
Yeah,
a leeway on that either, right? In Florida,
right.
we give a little bit more, like in
Mm-hmm.
certain state to state. But like I said, my number one draft pick would be a Texas. Number two would be Florida here. This
Florida.
ain't too bad as far
Right,
as some of the tax benefits, right?
right.
Hmm.
So let me jump in real quick. JP, what's good, man? My bad.
Good, man. I'm just listening, man. Peeping up the game,
Yeah,
man. I sound
yeah,
like I need to move back to Texas. I'm from Texas, so I sound like I need
yeah,
to go home, bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Number one
yeah.
draft pick, sir.
Number one draft pick, and those benefits matter for your lifestyle. You know,
Yeah,
we done a lot of things to promote. You know, but now you're trying to figure out, hey, what's my best options for what I have. To manage financially. So you got to talk to people. You got to get educated. You really got to get educated on laws and how stuff runs. In them states. So, how far will your money stretch if you're talking about really like, okay, once I get done with my 20 plus years or whatever, I want to shut it down. How does that really look for me?
hmm
How does it really look for me?
Yeah,
So it's
that was a
like,
question I had for you, Lloyd.
uh huh,
Since you've been retired, did you seek employment, or did the benefits so good in Florida, you just like I'm just chilling?
Um, see, that's not an easy question to answer because everybody's different, and I know you've heard that before. And for
mm-hmm,
me, I made Master Chief like right around or before the 20-year mark, and so I never thought in a million years that, first of all, that I was going to stay in the military that long. And I always tell people this from my beginnings of going to Brooklyn MEPS and Fort Hamilton. I was a headache for individuals. Like they really was mad at me. They just took me to the front gate and said good luck after I joined
right,
because I
yeah,
gave them such a hard time.
yeah,
And I took the minimum contracts every time. What's the shortest contract? I don't know about this Navy thing. And where I saw myself in the beginning is not where I ended up. And so getting towards the end of like close to a 20 and I'm an E9, I started thinking, because I'm going to college, I'm trying to finish my master's degree. I'm thinking about, working and I got to do that. But then I started to say, well, then I could go to 30 years. All right, so what's that look like on the pay charts? Okay, boom. And then really started to figure out a way that maybe I don't have to work as hard. And at that 20-year mark, I'm starting to prepare for the next 10 years for
Mm-hmm.
retirement. And I speak to people about this all the time. The more you prepare on that, the better off you'll be. Like, say, I can tell you how many people live check to check, not just military people. They waiting on the 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the 15th come, the money's already spent. It's already allocated. It's over here, it's
Mm-hmm.
over there, but it's not in your pockets no more. As soon as it went in there, and people are actually borrowing money to get to the next paycheck. So for me,
Right.
I put a lot of work into that independence part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could talk about that at length, as far as what prepared me. And like, well, I did look for work, right? And I did put my foot in the interview space. But when start calculating how much is your time worth to you now, right? Because you honestly not gonna come in and start making, $2 million off the top, right? And so I said, nah, I'm good right now. For all intents and purposes, I'm good right now. And it's been about 2 years. So at first I wasn't sure. You get a little
Right.
nervous.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is this going to be real or not? But then eventually, it start to settle. The dust settles,
Yeah.
and you're good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a lot of, like, ups and downs and, like, lessons learned through that process for me. But the best thing I could have did for myself, and I still feel like it wasn't perfect a transition, was to prepare. Like, 10 years out, and I went to 32 and a little bit of change. So that extra two helped out as well.
Yeah.
Especially,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
embarrassed to tell people, it wasn't until I was retired, like, DD 214 in hand, that DFAS is explaining to me what the high three really is. Right?
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
everybody feel, "Oh, yeah, I know. You trying to tell us, I know. You don't know nothing." They be like, "Nah, it's not your last 3 years." You figure, "Well, my last 3 years is the E9. You do that. That's what the check's supposed to be." No, 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 sir. It's the last three, highest 3 years
Right.
accumulating this calculation thing that they put in there, and it's going to be less than what you think it is, right? So
Right.
that changes the calculus a little bit, because that could be a difference. $500, $1,000 a month,
Mm.
and it's going to be taxed. I gotta get my federal out of that. Federal got to come out the top.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things, but just being prepared for it, putting, 2 to 4 months of your paycheck, to pay your bills in that transition when you retire, to when you're going to get, your retirement check, when it crosses over. It could be a while. If you did a claim, and if you're getting some money, it might be a while, and then
Mm-hmm.
a lesson learned on, like, say, VA disability. VA disability, they say, you know what, you got out, let's say, for instance, in August. Um, you did your claim, we got everything, you're gonna get 50%. Well, you say, well, then at least maybe I'm gonna get my first check October 1, because they pay you the month after. No, they say, no, what we do is we skip September. You'll get it November 1st for October. Well, where's that written at? That's the VA's policy. The
Mm.
VA policy, we skip the first month. The first month's free. You got to get that back. Like,
Right.
where's that written at? Who voted for that? But now you stuck. So you stuck another month without, and if you did not prepare, oh man, you might be in the breadline. I used to get the block cheese in the Bronx, in New York. I used to get the block cheese and powdered milk.
Right.
So it can get a little serious,
Get
So
serious.
just these ups and downs, because I talk about it all the time. I probably did 100,000 CDBs with sailors, but after you retire, there's nobody doing a CDB on you. Six
Yeah.
months
Mm-mm.
after, ain't nobody. Hey, we doing a follow up. It's been a year after you retire. How's everything? You need time. What can I do for you? Man, that's not
Right.
gonna happen. So
Yeah.
Lord knows, man. It could. I know it gets tough for people, and I felt like I know something. I know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know everything, and some people out there who know even less than me. This struggle's real out there. So if they can pick up anything on this conversation, I'm glad to share it. You know,
Yeah. So that's a lot of good information. That kind of leading to my first. Well, me and Pete kind of had the same question. Um, but it's a lot of information that you can receive no matter what. But you still going to have that feeling in your gut, like this is new. this only getting paid on the first thing is new. If you talking about getting receiving a check twice a month for 20 plus years, that's really normal. Like in your life, like every day, like I'm expected to get this check, definitely on these days. Sometimes 3 times a month, at best 2 times a month. But again, it's the shift that you got to prepare for, and that's the unknown.
Right.
That's the total
There's
part
no
of
way
it,
to
the
prepare
unknown.
for it.
There's no way to
It's going.
prepare for it. Some people handle it well, and some others don't. Others don't. And it goes back to the point of, like you spoke about, like we've done so many things for so many people and helped and coached and learned and mentored. But when you get out, it's just like, well, Dad, what do I do now? Like, what do I do? But they gave you the tools. You have the
Hmm.
tools. The tools are
Hmm.
there. But it's just the mindset shift. But how does that, like, when should they start thinking about the shift? I know you spoke about, like, you was going, hey, I got 10 plus years, but at a decent number, like, how many years should they be thinking about it? And it could be 10
That,
plus. What do you
yeah.
think?
Well, at the very least, we could submit your retirement request 24 months out, 2 years out.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that you're thinking about that before you just I'm gonna submit it today. So it's like maybe 3 years out, right? You're thinking about it, doing it. So you should already start doing the preparing because you're the one requesting it. I would hope
Mm.
most of the time nobody's forcing you out. So what are you going to do?
Right.
It, but there's so much psychologically behind that where people I feel they're already designing themselves that I'm always going to work. I was in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to give out too much, but it was a guy I met who was a retired Navy sailor. He
Uh huh.
got out and became a GS worker. He worked until he died, literally. And he died under weird circumstances.
Right.
But
Right. Right. Right.
and he was 70 plus years old,
Yeah.
right? And I would talk to him, I'd come in and talk to him like, hey man, so you're eligible for Social Security, you're getting your little
Right.
disability, you get your
Billy.
retirement, you got this GS stuff, you're getting retirement from that too. What's up?
Right. Right.
And he's like, I'm just and he died literally at work, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
It's tough,
and for
man.
some people that might be okay. So
Right.
in their head, they're not thinking about, well, I want to start living life a different way or enjoying
Mm-hmm.
life or getting more experiences. Some people are okay with that, right?
Right.
I feel like it's okay to work check to check, right? I'm just going to continue to work, and that's just the way it's going to be. But if
Right.
they could just change that mindset a little bit and think about maybe there's another side of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because even some of my peer groups here where I live at, they got jobs, they working still,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They get a week's vacation,
Yeah.
right? And they're okay with that. I personally am not okay with. I've always felt weird getting less days than what the Navy gave me for 4 weeks a year. I
Yeah.
get a week now in my retirement. Don't feel
Yeah.
they're okay with that, and I'm not okay with it. And yeah, just that they okay check the check.
Right.
And I just step back, like I said, this is a bigger issue even with most people on this planet. Most people do live check to check, right?
Mm-hmm.
They spend beyond their means. How many people that we can talk about who get in trouble for money issues, right,
Yeah.
throughout their
Yeah.
career,
Yeah. That's
right?
right.
Like
That's right. That's right.
a sailor who's
Yeah.
stealing something from the exchange, or
Yeah.
get a
Government
little
travel card issues.
light in the berthing. Somebody left
Yeah.
something out
Yeah.
that just
Right. Right.
disappeared because they trying to live a certain lifestyle, and definitely when we talk to people in a formal setting, when they mess up, like, hey, why'd you do that? And it's kind of like I was trying to keep up with the Joneses,
Right.
right? How many times you know some of my advice is how many times somebody will come back after a deployment, saved up some bank, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I still talk to people today,
Yeah.
just saved up some bank. What are they doing with that? I'm gonna go purchase this new whip,
Do it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I went and got you know on deployment, I got 1 million Amazon packages delivered. Right, a million. Where'd you put it? I don't know, but the
Yeah.
packages was coming in. They
Yeah.
coming
Coming
in.
in. Coming in.
Boom. right? Because you're not thinking about tomorrow or at the end. So even asking a thought-provoking question to young people, whether they're in high school or whether they're in the Navy now or they get ready to retire, when do you want to stop working?
Mm.
When are you gonna stop? And you'll see the light bulb and it start turning, and they're thinking 72,
70, 60, 72. Yeah. Yeah.
68.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what if, right? And and for the most part, people who have probably like less than 8 or 7 years now, they're on that blended retirement. So
Mm-hmm.
they definitely
Mm-hmm.
got to start looking at a 401k plan, a TSP. The
Yes.
Navy had, and they probably still
Yeah.
do have, 2 years later since I've been out, the $1 million sailor program, where it
Mm-hmm.
shows you if you join the Navy 20 years later, investing in TSP the way you need to do this way, you'll be a
Right.
millionaire at the end of your career. Because that's all we're
Yeah.
going to give you right now, pretty much on the BRS is this
Right. Right.
this
Right.
Mm-hmm.
TSP 401k thing, right? They
Right.
don't have the high three anymore, really, for people
Mm-hmm.
with like less than 7 years. So it's very important that they start looking at IRAs and start just doing that long-term
Investing.
investments,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, that type of stuff. But like again, I don't even think the question even came up into the psyche, right? And so that
Right.
comes to like a mentorship, like who's your mentor? Anybody talking to you about this stuff?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like I just happened to be making fun of my command master chief as a young sailor. What are you driving?
Right.
That
Right.
sparked the question
Right.
on, oh, yeah, maybe I need to, because I'm thinking about getting a new Acura, right? E4 status. Let me get the new
Right.
Ac
Right. Right.
with the
Right.
Right,
speaker in the
right,
back.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. With some
Maybe I
bump in
don't.
the back.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you gotta have that.
gotta get the rims, gotta get the shoes
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotta get the
yeah.
Right.
shoes right. You
Right.
can't go out there like that. And it's gotta
Right.
get cleaned every other day.
Right. And
Sparkling, not a
at the
speck
same
of
time,
dust.
then you pulling up to her subway getting a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
About to ask for a part-time job. About to request
And,
shit to
and
you.
and your apartment.
Right.
You pull up in your apartment, knocking
Apartment.
knocking the
Yeah.
walls down.
Yeah. Right. And it's just the upbringing and the lack of education, because you could have done a lot of things instead of keeping up with them outside Joneses and trying to do some things. But and it comes down, and everybody going back to like working and not working. Everybody has different circumstances,
Yeah,
so it's different.
I grew up with nothing, right? Really,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
grew up with
Yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
like monetarily, materialistic wise. So at first, it was very important for me to show people I had something. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up with people wearing the gold chains, they got the rings, they got the shoes, and we like to show that we have something, but we really don't have. We don't really own nothing. I come from the
Mm-hmm.
place where this is my block, but we rent it. If
Yeah.
anything, I don't own no real estate. I ain't got no deed to no
Right.
corner, but it's my block,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so changing that maturing and changing mentality of financial independence, being a little bit smarter, it's getting financial literacy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
taking that, because you don't get that in public high school, even today. Still, really, they don't really promote how to be a boss, the CEO,
Right.
open
Right.
LLCs and stuff
Right.
like that, right? And so just changing that. But like I said, we like to look rich, but not rich, right? And you'll see it every day. You might see an E3 right now. You got a brand new whip pulling up
Yeah.
to the pier. Brand new. Mustang, whatever. It's brand new. What's the interest rate on that? 17%. Smiling
Yeah.
too.
Right.
Nah, there's probably another way, sir. Another way.
Yeah.
And that's the SCRA to make sure your interest rate stays down low. I didn't even know I could do it. You got to ask for it because they're not going to just give it to you. And they're not going to ask, are you in the military? Where we got to keep our interest rates down on you for credit cards and loans.
Right.
What are you
Right.
talking about? That's the thing. Yeah, get up on that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't let them ride, because interest rates make the difference. 1 or
A whole
2%
lot
make
of
a
difference.
difference,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Or the
just
payment.
You know,
those are
I'm glad you said that, Lloyd, because we always heard if you're a CMC, so you already know it. Those those lemon lots right outside the gate, those the sailors with no financial literacy, they get taken advantage of. And I know
Mm-hmm.
a family member who, I just got this whip. Yeah, how you get it, man? You finance it because you were supposed to come with me. Oh, I got this credit card. Like, bruh, come on, bruh. Tell me you didn't put this thing on a credit card.
Yeah,
So it's the financial literacy, bruh. It's so huge for these young sailors, and they just don't get it early enough, or because they should get it in boot camp because we don't teach it in high schools.
man. Right.
But you
but they
Right.
see them
kind of
fall
get
into
it.
that trap.
But it's a 2-second joint. It's not
Right.
really. So what happens when they, New Sailor checks into Jacksonville? I get them talk to them, and then really talk to them. They'll tell me, this is that check-in. Welcome aboard.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your ball cap. This weekend, I'm about to go get that motorcycle, brand new. Wait. And then I got to talk to them about, and you got to get all this stuff done. And sometimes, very rarely, 1%, I'm still going to do it and get hurt, and I got to take them to another setting. But they just, they need that warm handoff too, right? Like, get into their head. And like I said, they don't even know what they don't know. So if you
Right.
got to spark that thing by asking them, you know what I'm saying? Because like stuff that devalues and stuff that gains value, like
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
as soon
yeah.
as you drive off the
You know,
lot, you know it's losing value, right? What are you
oh, it's
talking
done.
about?
It's done.
First time
And
buying a car,
also, as a CMC, how many of them letters come to the command with their star card?
yo.
Because everybody's eligible.
Like it's literally every week, and
Yeah.
it's every
Yeah.
flavor. Every
Right.
flavor is getting
Right.
these delinquency letters to the commanding officer, and they hand that off to me. So I talk at so till I lose my breath on, like, just save your money, right? Like, look, man, I'm a tuna fish can dude with some sardine character. Like, that's what we gonna do. What we doing?
Right.
Tuna fish, and we gonna make that all. We gonna make it happen. I'm a galley dude. My peer group would laugh. We go TAD anywhere on a base somewhere, so school or course. I'm pop locking in the galley on the line, man. You know what we doing? How much I want? 345? Oh, all you can eat? Oh,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know what are we
Yeah.
doing? Skip Subway. I mean, that's cool, but no. Over here, man, mid rats. I'm back at the galley again. What are we
Right.
doing? Save your money, man. You know they say a fool in the money is soon departed, man. I ain't bringing nobody fool, man. And like, when you look at it, like, and I would say this to you guys and everyone that might be watching is, there's countless people who tell me they wish they joined, they wish they could get a retirement and something to help,
Hmm.
because honestly, there's a lot of people I know who, there is no plan A or B when they get like 70,
Yeah.
right? Like, so
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't, you know, because of the environment as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you got people who are struggling, maybe in their personal life, like I was, and they'll join the military, like maybe some of us, and then they're not too far removed from that. So
Mm-hmm.
like, this is a whole new world of conversation to like, hey, you know, and it's super challenging, right? Because the life is happening, hitting them left and right. You know, they got the new shorty pregnant now. You know, it's like, oh man, this is things is just hitting them, and it's snowballing. But when I just start talking to them about, like, you know, getting that emergency fund, like, imagine getting paid and not even looking at it, just one
Mm-hmm.
pay period. Are you going to
Yeah.
die?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to just collapse if
Right.
you just never looked at it?
Right.
You know, and
Right.
and I'll just talk a little briefly on our experiences on when they have a government shutdown. They say, we can give you, you're not getting a check. What you gonna do then? You just don't get a check. You
Don't get
somehow
a
we
check.
survive. So
Yeah.
just every now and then, and it's to kind of go back in my brain when I'm thinking about when you do have an auto loan, or I hope to God you have a mortgage, and it's taking the time once a year to make an extra full payment on just the principal alone on these loans.
Mm-hmm.
When you go over a 30-year period or a long period, you could cut that almost in half. You can cut
Right.
definitely a third
Right.
of the life of the loan down and save you money in your pocket long run, right? It's like
Yeah.
snowballing it, right? Imagine
Right.
you go to buy a car and it's all in cash, right? And it didn't hurt you because you just kept, snowballing and making payments on a car payment that you already paid off
Right.
2, 3 years ago. And you kept putting that money there. Boom. Now I got this amount of money. I could go buy the car in cash if I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
right? But just even on a home buying thing, these mortgages for a 30-year, you could cut that down to at least 20 if you make a couple extra payments on your principal,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then I have a near and dear family member in my heart who I've been talking about, who's in Virginia, about, go and buy a house, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, before you hit your 20, buy a house. But wouldn't it be nice if that house was paid for before you retired?
Yeah.
And so all
Hmm.
you got to do is worry about maybe some property tax, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be nice? But you're not thinking about that now because you're not there. But when you get there and you ain't do
Right.
it, you might, man, I wish I coulda, shoulda,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so, like, you got the BAH, and I think JP said it earlier. You paying rent? Like, I paid rent a couple times, right? I lived
Mm-hmm.
in base housing a couple times, but what if it was just straight? paying on your mortgage,
Mortgage.
which
Yeah.
I highly recommend. Yes, we PCS and we move, but house ownership, home ownership is probably like the number one best thing you can do in your
Right.
career
Right.
besides investing in the market and saving and controlling your spending, right?
Right.
Like, you know,
Especially if you buying around bases,
yeah,
prominent, strong military bases, is like it's a win. you
yeah,
know, and if you get lucky enough to, even in California, where I know like the mortgages and the interest rates, they high, but you're always going to have people living out there. So
hmm,
somebody always going to need a place to live, you know.
yes,
So so it's always a good investment to do those things, and for like and thinking long term, and that's what you was basically just talking about, thinking long term and building that wealth so you can have an easier transition. Because the thing with transition, everybody fear the most is, am I going to be financially stable? Am I going to be okay? Because if you done those things like you just spoke about, investing, real estate, all of those type of things. If you did them things early, like when you first jumped in the Navy and you talking about doing a 20+ year career, you won't even be stressed about anything because you'll know automatically you're financially stable.
yeah.
So my next question for you is like, how is it important? How important is it to control like your lifestyle? Like, if you're not working, you living off of some, either your retirement, disability, or whatever. But they go up. But this as well as price is going up, gas going up,
Yeah, yeah.
different things going up. So how do you maintain that mindset, like, yo, I know what I'm bringing in and I know what the economy is. The economy constantly going up. So how do you prepare and handle that accordingly?
Right. So it goes back to what we mentioned a little earlier, and I'll talk about that where, you're used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? And every 2 weeks ain't too bad. But that once a month check,
Mm-hmm.
there is no in between. There's nobody to go to ask for something every 2 weeks. So if and I'm gonna just tell you, there's things that you could do preparing for it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're a couple months out from retirement or separating from the military. Put yourself like, skip that every 2 weeks. Put yourself already while you're active duty on that once a month to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about like you pay all your bills or whatever
Right.
that
Right.
that you accumulate, but don't look at it every 2 weeks. Look at it every 4 weeks, and that is the greatest exercise to prepare for you what's really going to happen. Now, there's going to be a difference in that amount, but it it'll get that muscle memory ready to, like, there is
Yeah.
no check coming every 2 weeks now from the
Yeah.
military unless you're working in a civilian job outside. But like I said, just controlling it is so important because of that job security and that check every 2 weeks. I've seen people just they spend way too much way
Yeah.
outside. That's why when they get paid, they have no money. So if you don't control it, it's going to control you, right? And like I said, I personally know people who have gotten out and had to go get payday loans, right? Like they had to go and get the title loan, right?
Wow.
This is after retirement. It's so because you're not ready, right? But it's a behavioral thing, right? You have to break that, right? And for me, like some people, I don't like the stress of weren't growing up without not without a lot in my pocket to start with. I definitely ain't gonna have that same feeling now. I won't put myself through it. So I will have that discipline to say, all right, this is within my budget. This is what I can
Mm-hmm.
rock with,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to control that. And with whether it be friends, family members, or whoever, strangers,
Yeah.
no is important because yes, it's too expensive. The minute I say yes, I can help you, and boy, hey man, I'm, I'm on a fixed budget. You know what I mean? And I feel already I'm giving you too many words to explain
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
The answer is no, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
you
Right. Right.
overextend
So
yourself.
you really saying like now you cutting some people off for real because you're on
Yeah,
a fixed income. Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
overextend yourself, and guess what? There's no naval relief for the retirees, really. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You can't
Yeah.
go up in there. Who you going to? I'm gonna go to PSD and see what they. There's nothing for you, sir. That's
Yeah.
it. You cut off. Good luck. And so you have to start training yourself for that, um, and preparing. And like I said, probably the other thing to do as well is to reduce that credit card debt. right?
Mm.
If you got 6 months to bring it down, so be it. If you got 2 years, so be it. If you got longer, great. Bring it down. And it's a lesson from my grandfather, when he passed away in the Bronx. Never, if don't buy anything if you ain't got it in cash. That's his mentality, old school. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
about that credit card stuff, boy. Like, I bet, sir.
Right.
So
Right.
just reduce that credit card, because that interest rate is no joke either. Some people are gonna take them years to pay off them credit cards. They got multiple.
Right.
It'll get you in
Yeah.
trouble. So reducing your debt, preparing for transitioning outside the military is super important. You know, you might not want to buy that luxury vehicle. You might not want to go get brand new furniture right now. Let it sit there. Let it sit, and let it accumulate, and maybe a TSP account. And I want to say also maximizing your TSP
Yeah.
contribution. And for those who are retiring today, next year, but definitely those seven-year sailors, 5-year sailors who are thinking about doing 20, maximize your contribution. Make it hurt. You get that mortgage, make it hurt. What
Mm-hmm.
do I mean by that? Make the full payments, if not some extra, to get that down, because that's an asset that's going to gain value that you can lean up against later on if times do get hard, right? So bringing down your debt, get your pockets right, and look, I love say it to yourself. You have to. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. Check just hit on the first. I ain't got
Right.
it.
I
I
ain't
ain't
got.
got it.
Right.
Okay, that's what you. Hey, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how you
So
do it.
so I got a question for you, Lloyd. So, being a CMC, you see the knee-jerk reactions people have when they're over 20 and they get passed over promotion and they're not prepared to retire, but they come to you like, I'm throwing my papers in, I'm putting my papers in, and they're not prepared. And do you have that conversation with them, or you let them be the grown up that they are, because they're adults making adult decisions with adult consequences, you know?
Yeah, a couple of conversations with that, because in those situations, those individual chiefs or sailors going past 20, um, they feel a kind of way. They don't even want to have a ceremony, right?
Mm.
And I encourage the ceremony for multiple reasons, for the family, but also it helps slow it down a little bit to help you prepare mentally for what's to come, right? And and it's really about you, not more so you didn't get promoted. And so my biggest recommendation to them, and it's still to this day, to this point, is what I've learned, especially with the high three, is stay in until they tell you can't stay in no more, right?
Right.
Because we have to request to get out. It's you requesting it again,
Right.
because
Right.
that's about you. I'm not getting no commission off what I'm recommending to you, to the last day. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping, it's not the circumstances, provided that it's not like a toxic environment that is bad for you mentally, physically. But if you can stay into the last minute, because you got, it's very helpful. Like,
Right.
I talked to some CMCs, like, encourage them to do 30, and they were going to get out at 28. And they would come back to me and say, man, them 2 years helped me. They
Made
helped
a
me get
difference.
myself together. So, like, get get yourself together, because we all kind of knew or know when it's time for us to go, in a way,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
I would
Right.
hope the
Right.
calculus is that I'm good, right? And no cap, right? Don't give me no, yeah, I got 17 homes. No, hopefully your pockets is right,
Right.
right?
Make
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's the key to it. But I've always been preaching this. Like, one of my mantras over the years of being a CMC was that million dollar sailor, talking about TSP contributions, getting it right. Make sure you got 6 figures and up in that joker.
Yeah.
Making sure you reduce your debt, right? Like, and and like I said, I didn't need to really see all the zeros and the ones on there, but making sure I push that message so my conscience is clear, because I really want you to be, because that's a huge part of the stress once they transition,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
When you get
Mm.
out now and you start
Mm.
working these jobs, it's really a choice instead of like a I have to, right?
Right.
Because you
Right.
have the freedom. Like, you
Yeah.
know what? I think I'm done with here, sir. I put my notice in. That's great. That's a great
Yeah.
feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, man, I got to be here because A, B, and C, right?
Right.
So once again, getting it, getting it right. Because what do we? Some of the things we do culturally is we probably buy too much drinks. If you go to the package store, we coming out there double fisted. We
Loading
got
up the cart. Loading
boom,
up the
boom,
cart.
boom. We need to cut
Yeah.
back on
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
that costs something too. right? That's
Hmm.
costing something too. And some people like the high end stuff. So you gotta learn to control that, bring it down, and save, man. Because the more you save, that it makes that transition very smooth. Like I
Right.
said, I thank God that I had a couple of months because that gap, especially when the VA said, "No, we skipped the first month." Yeah, we know. We're gonna skip the first month on you, sir. I was like, this is crazy. You got a supervisor? You're gonna have to wait
Right. Right.
17 hours on the
Right.
phone and talk to somebody to
Right.
tell you, no, no, no. I said,
Yeah.
make it make
Hey,
sense.
you
How
can
you
say
skip
all
the
you the
first
hey,
month?
you the E9 in the Navy, all the above. You're gonna still
Yeah.
have to wait.
It's one of those
Yeah.
conversations. If you know, you know. If you do a travel claim through the VA and you're going to go somewhere, like this is for those who are out and you go to a medical appointment, they refer you out to a place that's, a couple miles away. You do your travel claim. They have a policy like the first $80 or first couple of miles you go, it's contribute to the pot, right? So if say for instance, an example,
I didn't know that.
for example, if you got $100 on your claim, like yeah, $100 travel claim. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. We're gonna get that 80. Here's your 20, and that's every month. So you have a lot of claims, and that's just a policy. This is financial
Yeah.
education here.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I'm in there. I'm like looking crazy, like, where's the rest of my money? They're like, nah, that goes to the pot here, sir.
Right.
That's just the
Right.
policy. That's
Right.
it's got to go to the crew. Who's the crew? Who's the dude? Who's that dude? I need to go talk
Yeah.
to him, right?
Yeah.
But that's just the
Hmm.
way it is. So the same
Right.
thing goes with everything else, right? You have to be prepared to weather the storm just in case. And for those on active, what if they do shut down again? You got to be prepared. And a good rule of thumb is having 2-3 months worth of money to pay your bills as an emergency fund. That's not the savings account. That's not your checking account. That's your emergency fund, something
Right.
separate, right? That
Right.
you can draw on just in case something happen. Things
Yeah.
happen, and if you're
Yeah.
like me, large family, I'm blessed to have my parents. Something happened. I could pull on something to help them out. Like people pass away because we're not going to get out of this story alive. None of us,
Mm.
and we don't know when that day is. Who's covering something, somebody that's near and dear to you, services and stuff like that. You
Right.
need you need to have some type of emergency. That's what it's for. I
Right.
think that's what
Right.
kind of some of the reasons why we're here. Part of it is
Yeah.
to have something just in case. You know
Right.
what I mean? Break glass
Yeah.
in just in case of emergency, right?
Right. And there's the type of conversations where you like, you might need to have like whatever you making right now, you might need to have like 3 to 4 months of that,
Hmm.
stashed away because you never know what can happen. You just
Yeah.
never know. Because a lot of government shutdowns happen and things get backed up. But I think from what I've been hearing lately, like a lot of people, even though the government shutdown happens, a lot of people claim it's still getting processed, or there's different things that the VA are still getting
Oh yeah, it's gonna
processed. So
get
that's
it's gonna
why,
get processed still because people are
yeah,
still working, but
it's still working. Yeah, and
that
that's
check
why
ain't
one thing
hit.
I got to give my credit to the VA for.
Yeah.
And you don't learn that until you kind of, me myself personally didn't learn that until I actually retired. So
Mhm.
going back now, like you've been out now, for a little 2+ years. What would you do differently on like your last 24 months in the Navy? Knowing what you know now, things that you learned, what would you do to try to get ahead of those things that you know that you already learned? What
Like
would you tell 30 year CMC Lloyd Roberts that got 2 more years left?
I feel like I did a really good job personally. I
Mm-hmm.
think I did a really good job. There were one or two things that I dropped the ball on after I retired that I did not track. So we have checklists before you retire, right?
Mm-hmm.
They give that
Mm-hmm.
out. It's not a secret. But there's no checklist after you get out, right? The
Mm-hmm.
things that you need to make sure you're tracking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it, if there is, it's not very widespread. We only thinking about that last 6 months, the
Right.
last 9 months. I submit my BBD, I submitted my terminal leave, so on and so forth. The retirement ceremony is going on, the invites went out, but you see, the day after you go through them bullets, the new checklist starts. And so I
Mm.
did a really good job because I had so much time, and then the extra 2 years after 30 helped me really, really prepared, because I was thinking, yeah, we all got to get out. We're all going to transition or get out. Just like we had a
That's
beginning,
right.
we're going to have an end. But for me, where I dropped the ball was like the one or two little things, right? Like, whether it be like signing up for medical. And then, so that's another thing too, right? You serve all these years. you're not realizing that most Americans, most people have windows when they sign up for like dental and medical. Yeah, and you miss the window, guess what you got to do? You're gonna wait the whole another year, sir.
Oh, that's that. They talk
Smooth
about
like
that
a
TRICARE word.
breeze.
Yeah, go ahead, preach on
And
it,
if you
preach
need
on it. Yeah,
something, right? If you need
yeah,
something, you got to pay for that out of pocket, straight up. You need something right now, or you might have to do that what they call the traveling medical providers. You got to take a plane somewhere to get the care you
yeah,
need if the
yeah.
bill's too high here in the States, right? So that was the thing that I wish I paid a little bit more attention to, and I would tell people this, right? But speaking on that mentality too, is just I was just thinking about sometimes how I got pressure in a way, or you feel pressure in a way when you're transitioning, right? Like, work still needs you. Work wants
Right.
you there every day, all day, right? It's the same thing when we have the Chief season. The stuff is happening. Planes got to launch. Stuff got to happen. But you
Yeah.
you you got training to do that for this time period, or your TAD. You're in the school that's super important, but the phone's still ringing. They want you to
Right.
step out of the class to answer some work stuff, or you're on leave with your
Right.
family, without your family, and you're getting the calls on leave. And
Right.
so pushing back against that, even for myself, as a CMC, I felt the pressure for that. And I would tell people, you got to push past those feelings and take care of yourself at that moment. When you have a medical appointment, you got to go. When you got to go to that transition class, it's for you. You can't go back in time. And like I said, and I hate to say it that way, but no one's doing a CDB on you afterwards. There's no way to rewind the clock, put you back on active duty, and do what you're supposed to do while you're on active duty to prepare you to separate. And so it's a it's an unfair balance because people kind of discard you, and there's a culture there like, oh, they getting out, they worthless, don't mess with them.
Mm.
They done gave up or whatever.
Mm.
You still the same person. You here wearing a uniform, you're here to serve, but you got to take care of this now, right? And we've kind of in leadership roles been built to take care of other people, like, and to change that, to put yourself as the number one priority now. You're important. You're the one who's doing a self CDB. You got to do that. And I tell you, it's super tough, especially if you're getting any pressure from people who outrank you,
Mm.
because they put that guilt on you. Because even though you might not be worried about an eval or an award anymore,
Right.
it's hard to say no with people who outrank you,
Right.
because you've been
So
built
CMC,
to
you taking the
listen.
pack off right now, huh? Do you
Yeah,
need
yeah.
you
So,
need to go to that appointment? You
yeah.
need to
So,
go. You can't schedule
do you
that for
need to
Saturday.
go? Yeah. Do you need to go? Yeah. You know what you do? You do need to go because there is no do-over, right? And when that window is gone, the window is gone, right? And that could impact you later on for years. For years. Like I said, I have one family member who's never submitted a claim to the VA in decades, right? Um, just didn't know, right?
Right.
It's zero conversation, right? And some people, family members again, who've missed the command at the time, didn't have the time to give them TSP or the TGPS separation class.
Right.
They
Right.
didn't chance to send them to it. So they missed out on all of that whole week that was important. They just worked them to their last day, and I was upset for them, too
Right.
upset. And so I experienced myself some of that pressure from the culture that, oh man, they retiring, they ain't da, da, da. And then when
Right.
you do show up to work, you get this kind of like you push to the side, right? And it can really mess with you and cause a toxic environment. But I tell
Yeah.
people you have to push past that, because when you fast forward a year after you get out, like I said, nobody checking for you, and that's the
Yeah.
truth.
You
At
got to
all.
Your
remember
phone ain't
the
ringing.
show must go on without you, and it's
Yeah,
gonna
It's
go
going.
on
It's going
without
to
you.
go on. Yeah.
It's
It's
gonna
going
yeah.
to
go
They
go
on
on
still
with
without
or
you.
without you.
they still
Yeah.
going out. Y'all went on the deployment. Yeah, they went on the deployment like it was nothing. You wasn't that
Yeah,
critical to them on that point.
Right.
it's funny you
Yeah,
mentioned
so
that TGPS and people not being able to participate or go because that's a lot of information crammed down your throat in 5 days. But for people that actually want to work after they retire and stuff, one of the things they tell you in TGSP, get that LinkedIn account. Get your LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
account built up so you can start networking it. I've known people that have been retired for a couple of years and they were, what? I started it, but I never finished it, but I want to work. Well, you're not networking yourself. You're not putting yourself out there to make yourself available. and building that resume for people to see you if you really want to work. So they didn't get that knowledge because, like you said, Lloyd, they were too busy still working,
Yeah, and to
doing
add to that is just making sure you do the LinkedIn, maybe like activating because they give you a year free, right?
a year for free. Yeah.
Once you start the year and it ends right on a year out, do it
Oh
like
yeah, I got that bill.
about
Yeah,
two
yeah, I got that
months
bill right away.
2 months prior to getting out, right? Like so you got a year out before you retire. Don't start it that early. If it's a
Right.
free year, do it closer to the terminal date so you could get the benefits of it because you might need that time. But just maybe a few months off of that. But I'd say hold off on activating it as long as you can, right? If you got some pressures on you to start looking for something, activate it, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
it's a wonderful asset and tool, LinkedIn, right? They do really focus on if you could utilize it as that, as looking for jobs, networking, and stuff like that. There are some
Right.
things that are in there in the threads of it, where it's like probably serves no purpose, but it's like almost close to like us other social media platforms. But they really do primarily, I still say, focus on like job networking and stuff like that,
Business and
building
stuff. Yeah.
your status out there. And when they start
Yeah.
promoting you to let people your people know, hey, I'm looking for this type of field, and
hmm
then people do reviews on you and stuff.
Right.
You're a good character and all that stuff, good worker.
And
Mhm.
if that's the world that you're looking to go into, you should really jump in it like as soon as possible and not wait till you get close to retirement.
Yeah.
They got free accounts on there still. You don't have to like the one that they offer for that year. It's like a pro. It's like a next level
Yeah.
account for a year.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But you
yeah.
can still get on there and learn some things and connect with some people depending on like what field you want to go into. They got all that stuff on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And like I always talk about like going through a TGPS or TAPS class. It's a lot of information.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
so and they putting the information out to you. We're just not focused on it because we're not taking it. You'll see some people in there taking it seriously. Not a lot though. Not a lot.
Hmm.
And you pick a pay grade, through enlisted officer. But the information is there. But like you're speaking about earlier, we still going to be nervous like that. Okay, well, what should I do now? Well, no, they gave you those thick books that they gave you. You should be going through highlighting some stuff and looking at some stuff because it's really the most important part of your transition. One, how I'm going to do, financially. Am I financially stable to work or not work? Or if I may have some habits, whatever it may be. I might want to have a job. Cool. What does the TRICARE look like? What does the VA look like? Those are the like really the most important things because the VA is there. Majority of us will get free care.
Yeah.
Then you say, well, I
Prime
got to
or
get
select.
TRICARE. Yeah, Prime or Select.
Prime
Now
or
I
select.
get TRICARE. I know I haven't dealt with TRICARE until I got out. So I'm like, well, which one do I get? How do I navigate it? What does it look like? What is it helping me with? Because you're going to not get some appointments at the VA, but you in pain or you got something going on, so you got to use your TRICARE. So all
Hmm.
of those things matter. Hey, just take it out my check. How do we doing? How's it going to work? And like you said, if you don't get in, like they give you a grace period when you retire. Like I think it's 60 to 90 days, something to that
Yeah.
effect. But if you don't catch it then, oh, you gotta wait till the next fiscal year or whatever just to get in because it's closed. It's
Hmm.
closed.
Hmm.
And those are the type of things that we're not used to. Oh, we
Oh
gotta
yeah.
wait to when? Like, no, I want to get it
And like I
right
said,
now.
and those dates you're talking about, nobody is reminding you because it's your dates. It's
It's
not
your dates.
JP's,
Yeah,
it's not it's not Lloyd's dates. It's your
yeah,
date on that
yeah,
window of the 90 days. So from my
mm-hmm.
personal experience, I missed that window, and
Yeah.
I missed it by 2 days.
And they like, we'll see you when it opens up on the
Yeah, and I see you
and
next year.
that was
See
matter of
you
fact that
next
was
year.
October. Yeah, they open up. It's like from October to December. So
Yeah, I missed it by two
one
days.
person I know, she had a husband. She retired. Husband retired a little time after that, and she was on a TRICARE for the husband. But when he retired, that trial period, they like you said, weren't paying attention. Both of them that had TRICARE.
Mm,
Both of them. They had to cancel appointments and everything because you just don't
they're
know.
not covered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and nobody sent you. Hey, you on the hit list for this TRICARE. Like in 2 days, it's going to
so
expire.
the only help we really get when you get your retirement ID card, they got a date on there, right?
Mm.
So that date is super important because now we talking Medicare, Medicaid. for all of us.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
you say, hey, my ID is about
Yeah.
to expire. You going, I'm going to the basement, get this renewed, or whatever the case may be. But that's to remind you, you ain't on that TRICARE no more.
You ain't on that TRICARE no more.
You over here
Yeah,
now in this
yeah.
new category.
And the nurse told me, she said, when that Medicaid, she said, make sure you get it. She
Yeah,
said, don't shy away from it. She said, my nurse at the VA told me, she said, make sure you get that Medicaid as well. She
yeah,
said, yeah, you probably thinking like, oh, that sound bad. Like,
yeah. It's like
no, you
AARP.
need, right. You need all the health care you can get.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and as we continue to get older, we find more things like, oh wow, this is really wrong with me. My back, knee, shoulder,
hmm
mental health, or whatever it may be. So, and that's why I tell people, hey, how's the VA treating you? You know, that's part of my intro. You know, hey, how's the VA treating me? Oh, I don't even go. Okay.
yeah,
You know, and for a lot of reasons. Everybody got different reasons. You know,
yeah.
I know me and you talk a lot about it. What's your experiences with the VA?
Um, the VA, man. I'm there quite a lot, to say the least. I don't know anybody that's there more than me, honestly. Uh, and it's I learn something new almost every week.
Mm,
Every week I pick up something new, and I tell them most of the time. I try to humble myself and say, "Hey, man, I'm an E1. I'm an E0. I don't know nothing. I don't know what I don't even know. Please help me, inform me, school me, teach me, show me what I need to do on the things that I need help with." And what I learned is over that period of time, there's a ton of information there. And so even if the VA does not provide the services for you directly, they can point you in the right direction to get the services you need and the help you need, right? So I could probably write a book on all the places they pointed me to, resources wise, to get me help, right?
mm-hmm,
In
mm-hmm,
different areas. So they've been very helpful. Like I said, my only feedback here is like, say for an area like this, what we talked about earlier, is that it's saturated with veterans. And so most of the time to get any services, you got to go out to community care because whatever. And I'm telling you, after like this amount of years, I've learned how to like streamline that and get quicker on
mm-hmm.
getting the community care referrals. Because before I was just, man, I was in a hot mess. Like, man, it's taking too long. But now, because of my experience and my knowledge, I know how to move it a little bit quicker. And just knowing my circumstance, like I said, if I was in Houston, Texas, we in and out, baby.
Right,
A
right,
place,
right, right.
you go someplace where, there's 17 military members. Like, so for instance, for Jacksonville in particular, there's no naval hospital, no VA hospital here. There's no VA hospital
Oh
in
wow, I didn't know that.
Jacksonville, right? We have
Yeah.
we have VA clinics. We have two,
Okay. Okay.
right? And so the closest VA hospital, the big boy, it's like 2, 3 hours away from here,
Oh wow,
right? And so
I
for
didn't know that,
me,
man.
yeah, so we would love to get one, and we just got a new clinic maybe a year ago. The additional clinic, which helps, it's great. But
Mm-hmm.
I think a place like this, they would get my vote on this. This definitely justifies. It's like you need a VA hospital in Virginia. You need a VA
Right.
hospital in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
These are,
Yeah.
and this is just talking Navy. This ain't even talking military wise, like where's another huge base of
Mm-hmm.
Marines or Army or Air Force. You need where these bases are at and where most people would retire in that surrounding area, you need hospitals.
Hospital.
And then
Yeah.
services will move a lot quicker, but it's outside my pay grade how that
Right.
works, right? Um, so yeah, but I think they've been very helpful, right? They
Right.
do what they can do, but you have to also go in there with the right mentality. So I was so excited to come to the VA while I was active duty. Went in there in the VA clinic in my uniform. Was like, yo, I'm about to get this DD-214. I don't have it right now. What do I need to
Right.
do?
Right. Right.
I just
Right.
want to
Right.
introduce
Right.
myself. How do I get the VA card, the picture card joint, right? So they start, sir, you way too early, right? But just being cool with them, they were able to schedule. It just doesn't might not work for everybody. So don't, small print, small claim disclaimer, not a
Mm-hmm.
guarantee. They was able to schedule me for my first primary care provider appointment, like a day after I got my DD-214.
Oh wow.
So on the day after my separation, final day of separation, I already had my scheduled appointment with my primary care provider, right? And then we
That's
started
good.
the process on talking to the team of people who are there to help you, right? Because there's a
Mm-hmm.
team, they got nurses, they got all kinds of people in there to help you, right? Whether it's a social worker for some who need that, right? Um, and so that helped. That getting ahead of it, and I don't even think that's on the checklist at all, right? They give you
No,
the checklist
no,
when
I ain't never heard of that one.
you
Yeah.
transition. Go go
Mm-hmm.
go to your local VA. Like you said, some people just don't go, but understand this is where you're going to get your health care taken care of with
And
no
it's so
copay,
important. It's
with no
so important.
copay, right? Just
Yeah.
that they're going to take care of you. A veteran, you served, you earned the
Yeah.
right to getting taken care of, and they're going to do that for you. So go and check in with it. Every
Yeah.
veteran should have a primary care provider. Who is that?
Right. Right.
Right? And if you don't know, go over there and find out.
That's right.
Introduce yourself. Let them run the tests and get ahead of stuff. Like I said, to me, another like my personal beliefs is like your health is your wealth. So you can have 17 jobs after you transition, but if you're not here, right? Since I mean, you got all this money in the bank or you got a bunch of houses, if you're not here healthy,
Right.
it make no sense. So take care of your health. I advocate for everything else. I can tell you, hey man, finances is cool, all that, but you gotta should be looking after your health, honestly,
Always.
and the VA will help you with that. So, like I said, I was day number two. I was in the VA getting checked, and boom, let's do it. I got to get this, run the blood work, right? And that's another thing too. So if you don't know, before your new primary care provider sees you, they got to run blood work, and that takes like a week or two to get the results. So I did all that on terminal and get that in the system. Boom, see the doctor, right? So yeah, it's a deal.
So Lloyd, I got a question for you. So, like you mentioned it earlier, that all veterans are they have the right to go to the VA. Like we were talking about this at work today. I know some guys that retired a long time ago, long time ago, and they were under the impression, I retired when nothing was wrong with me, so I never made a VA claim, and they didn't understand the benefits that they still are afforded as being veterans. Can you speak to just some of the benefits that you know of that people that don't retire, but they are considered veterans because they did 6 to 8 years and they just don't know?
Yeah, I have a family member who got out decades ago and has been to the VA for different medical concerns, serious medical concerns, and they've treated that family member with the utmost best care, get them back up on their feet. And for a lot of people who don't have like a backup plan, that's number one, the best backup plan, having the VA to lean on, right? You might have did 2 years and the Persian Gulf War came out. You were a veteran, you can go to the VA and get care, right? And
Right.
so just like I'm saying, just basic, like say you get it like a serious illness, right? You get a serious illness. um wouldn't it be great to get good treatment, because medical bills bankrupt people. And so for
Mm-hmm.
you working your job, like somebody like will say, hey, TRICARE says, I'm out of the military, I have TRICARE, I don't use the VA. Your copay is going to be $2,000 for that particular procedure. You could give TRICARE that 2,000, just say for that particular procedure. You go to the VA and don't pay nothing. It's up to you. So
Right.
that
Right.
standpoint alone, the other things that I think that are useful are like, say for instance, in your primary care team, they have nurses, right? Maybe a nurse practitioner. They'll have like, and there's a team of people who are there to help you. But like one of the people that might be able to help the most in a lot of ways is what I call a social worker. Social worker at the VA part of that team. If you get in front of that person, handle social issues, and you would say, Mass Chief, what you going to see? So you see, you don't even know what you don't even know.
Right.
That
Right. Right.
there's a ton of resources that are probably a little bit in the VA and plenty outside of the VA. They can point you in that direction to get you the help you need, whatever those concerns are. I'm a true believer. I'm a true believer in, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. But for all those individuals who are like, I don't go there. I'm weird, and I say stuff like, um, when you're hungry, you're gonna eat, right? And if you're not hungry,
Mm-hmm.
your belly full, or at the job you at, and hey, you know what I'm saying? But like I love learning every day. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love to continue to learn to the day I die. So imagine, somebody could put something else in your toolbox. Maybe not even for yourself, but they might have a family member who's also a veteran
That's right.
who had a bad time, right? Like say how many people, with the mask and had to get kicked out. But their RE code, the DD214 still allows them to use the VA. How about they don't even know if they can or cannot? But
That's right.
how about you go and try? Because that's, like I said, another
That's the key
resource
right there.
that you
They-
earned.
they- When they think
Yeah.
they never went to medical, they have nothing service connected. They think the VA doesn't apply to them, and that's wrong. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. You could still get care at the VA,
Yeah.
even if it's not directly a service connected. There are some things that will come your way because of the service connected disability. But even if you're, you don't have a VA claim. Like I have a family member who's never submitted a claim, but goes to the VA and is getting bona fide treatment over the years, and have used social worker services to get provided help. Like the VA, for instance, has something called like the Homeless Veterans Program, where they house veterans. Most of the vets might have some kind of mental health issues, but they provide housing for these vets, right? And I didn't even know that was a thing until recently.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to get these veterans who served off these streets, the VA has services for that, but you wouldn't know if you don't know, right? And so just
Yeah, mentioned that last week, Ty.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's called the VASH program.
yeah,
VASH. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
super
But yeah,
important.
it's
That's a
because
pure
they
goal.
have something for everybody. That's why when I see people homeless asking for money to my disabled vet, how about you go to the VA? Start.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, just start there.
yeah,
Just
but
check it
Ty,
out.
I would say, Ty, that's and most of it, because of people I spoke to who work at the VA, it's mental health. That's
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a substance abuse issue. There's some other layers in there that's preventing him from doing it. Because
From coming through the
from
doors.
people who do stuff and don't do stuff, it starts up here, right?
Yeah.
I was hearing people like, what makes the toughest Navy SEAL? It ain't the biggest muscles.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's the
Mental.
mentality,
Yeah, it's
right?
mental.
You got to be mentally tough to let your mind control your body. Like that,
Right.
you ain't cold. You ain't cold in that water. You could be here
Right.
all day.
Right.
This is cool. So
Right.
a lot of what's preventing people, like, so what we're saying sounds really easy, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It's like saying, hey, all you gotta do is do 20 years in the military, do 20 years in the Navy. Like
Uh-huh.
it's like a breeze, but
Right.
them 20 years is kind of hard, right?
Right.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's a lot of great days, but in between them
But
20
it
years, you're
ain't
gonna be
easy.
working.
It's not an
Yeah,
easy
it's
layup
not gonna
every
be easy.
day.
It's
It's
not
not a
easy. No.
layup every day. Like, oh man,
Hmm.
what you
Nah.
talking about,
Nah.
right? Them deployments, stuff like that being away, the
Yeah.
sacrifices we
Yeah.
make, man. That
Long
ain't an easy
hours, man.
layup.
Yeah. I
So
just talk
so
about long hours, man. Just
yeah,
long
yeah.
hours.
Ooh,
Period.
Long
12-hour
Yeah.
hours.
days? That ain't nothing,
Yeah.
man. That's a tic tac. 12-hour day.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
You do that like
Right.
it's
So
nothing.
even
Hey,
for
the
Skip
AC
you,
go out
lunch.
in the berthing. AC go out in
yeah.
the berthing. You on water restriction hours.
Extended
We down.
deployments.
Man, extended
You
deployments.
know,
All
powdered
of these
eggs
things
is.
matter.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
I
you
didn't
coming
forget.
up on your retirement? How would you with the with your transition mentally? Like, cause there's a lot going on. You still a father, husband, CMC. You name it. How was like your mental like going through that and thinking about like, dang, do I got this? I know I'm happy, but nervous at the same time. What was it like for you going through that process?
Um, so for me, I'll be honest, because some people might not. I feel like I went through a point where you're all gonna miss it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that day now that you hang up the uniform and there's no real purpose for you to put it back on immediately, right? Uh, and so something for me like to unravel to get back to normacy of who Lloyd Roberts is who am I after the name tag and the collar devices come off, right? And that transition, that's why the VA support helped me as well with that, right? To kind of get back to who I am. But and I was already thinking about that prior to retiring, thinking about when you go through the bullets, who's on the other side to receive you, right? After the military says going ashore for the last time, who's on the other side? What relationships that you cultured and developed over the years to make it meaningful after you've served, right? And so if you were developing that along your career, that's cool. Some people would say when you retire, you got to work because if you
Mm-hmm.
don't work, you're gonna be bored, right? But I don't know about you, I'm busy every
Yeah,
day,
yeah. You can find something
right?
to do.
I live a full life. Um, and I think that was important for me getting ready, right? Now I'm busy doing stuff that I wanted to do and I always wanted to do, couldn't always do a deployment, you working, you can't take leave, that's not approved, right? You got to do the training to get the go overseas, whatever. But so for me, I was always working on that too. That I think that was important to kind of prepare. All right, what is life going to look like? Who's Ty?
Mm.
Who's Jerome? Who are you really? And it kind of reminds me of a thing we used to say once a year during the season. Who are you?
Who are you?
And that helped me really develop like as a person, right? Because like I said, there's gonna come a point where you had a start in it and there's gonna be an end. Everybody has to put it down after a while. And I know there's some people who can't, right? Because we do have a pretty high suicide rate, right? Depression and mental health issues when people have to let this go because this is everything that they were, right?
Yeah.
Then there was nothing else, and you have to start thinking outside of that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because we go all in while we're serving. We going all in,
Right,
but
right,
towards
right.
that time when you drop the papers, and I would tell you a true life story. I remember being on deployment. I fired up the computer. I'm in NSIPs, and I see the approved for the retirement. 24 months out, I froze.
For real.
Like I was buffering. Like I ain't had no more internet. I called the YN1 over. Hey man, what's this mean? What's this mean right here? They're like, oh man, it took a minute. It took a minute. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's real now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
turning
You
back.
was like all this stuff. Now it's here. What's up?
yeah,
There ain't no going back. No backseas. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
can't.
right.
It's happening. So
Because, like you said, you submitted that paperwork.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you did that. You know what I
Yes, sir.
mean? So now it's like, all right. So get yourself ready, right? And that's the other blessing too, right? I highly recommend doing it when you're at a 20-year career or coming close to it at maybe 18 years really to submitting it 24 months out because that 24 months out really helps you prepare financially, mentally, right? And spiritually get yourself together because it's going to take some time and you're still not quite going to be ready because like I said being out now like it took a while like you're going to be nervous. I was nervous like man am I going to be okay?
Yeah,
Am I gonna pay these bills? Like bills ain't gonna never go away. They gonna be there to the end of time,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, am I gonna be all right? And then I feel like we have some kind of giving back to the culture, to the people, to the community. So I still do that. Like I talked to a young person today that was coming back from a high school graduation in the neighborhood. And what you gonna do? I'm thinking about
Mm-hmm.
joining the Navy.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I might be able to talk to you a little bit about that with my experience in Navy recruiting. Right? Boom,
Right.
and we start talking. And what do you think? So you would you recommend it? I'm like, I would, it's not the
Right.
only thing you can do. And I'm not here to tell you it's super easy because anything worth having you got to fight for. So that part kind of helps. So I think you're always going to be, for myself, giving back no matter what. I just don't want to be the old guy in the airport with the cap on, with the ribbons. Hey, I was 75 years ago. I
Yeah,
just don't want to be that dude.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I do, you know what I'm
You talking
saying?
about like Ty right
yeah,
now?
yeah. Oh, I represent, man. I
No,
earned
no,
that,
but
dog.
that's not too bad. But
I earned that, dog.
the dude you
Nah, I
see
ain't doing
them,
all that.
they be in the building,
Yeah,
they be like, hey, let me
yeah.
talk for a minute. And then it is, I did 27 years. Oh, man.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But yeah, that to me is from my experience, like getting yourself ready mentally, 24 months out, even before you submit it, and then like there's some realities that's gonna hit you. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
literally went through the bullets and they
Yeah.
done. They are done with you. That is it. When they say
Yeah.
going to shore for the last time, they are done with you, B. There is no, hey, you
Yeah.
come back to the office, sit back at the desk. We got muster tomorrow. We doing 5 walk down. You come. No, it's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
The flight line access, that's cut off. You done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I see people who have a hard time dealing with that. I've seen it. That was another thing too. I'm an OJT type of person, right? And I think I talked to you about this before, and I'll share that right now. I feel like because when you separate or you transition or you retire, there's very little like warm handoffs. Nobody's hand walking you through the VA. Nobody's hand walking you through TRICARE Prime or Select. There's none of that. And I learned best through OJT, right?
Mm,
So
mm, mm.
some people like they really fall through the cracks because they don't have any of that, right? And like I said, being in the seat, giving people CDBs and preparing people to retire helped me a little bit more than others. But like I said, I feel for those who fall through the cracks, like because a lot of it's mental, right? They just like, man, I've seen people come back on base a week after the retirement, put the uniform back on, khakis back on,
Yeah.
the retirement award on there and everything, and walking around the base, man,
Wow.
straight up. And
Wow.
I feel the pain. No words needed. You could feel the pain because that's all they had,
Right, right,
right?
right,
That's it. That was been their life for
right.
decades,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And I used to say, I said, I can't be like that. I don't want to be like that. So what am
Mm-hmm.
I going to do different, right? And start developing a plan of your dream life, your dream job, right? So that's another jewel to tell people. So once you transition, what would your dream job look like? Right? What's your dream job look like? Like in the office, outside the office? Like, what's your dream life look like? Right? Like, you're authorized to dream now. Like you got the paintbrush, you paint your future for yourself, right? And go at it, go wild, right? And choose happiness. I would hope, right? You get to choose, right? No more request shits, no more leave shits. Get after it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, and so that's important. Like I said, the money's going to always kind of be there, which is great with that kind of sense of security that you're going to get some type of retirement check. That's a
Mm-hmm.
great feeling. Now let's move beyond that, right? The VA has a homeless program, so you're not going to be homeless. So if you apply for that, if you need that, but let's move past and like think about where you see yourself, right? And what you're going to be doing with yourself. And I love those types of like look for your dream job or
Mm-hmm.
dream start up your own business, whatever that is, right? Like which one you want to do. That's why I think some of us do go into like the JROTC instructor. They put the uniform back on. They mentoring high school students. It ain't easy, right? And
Nah.
in a lot of ways, you might be working harder than you did when you was active duty. The
That's right.
kids
Mm-hmm.
are demanding today. They need a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I talk to some of the instructors every now and then in the area. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah.
The
That's
way
what's
you
up.
broke that down, Lloyd, it makes it sound because we all say it, it may be a little cliche on to the next chapter, but it really is you closing up that active duty service, closing that chapter, and you're writing the next chapter. That's when you really have to, like you said, you have to focus on where you're going next. So you start writing your next chapter as you go. So that book is still open. Just one
Mm.
chapter is over with and the end. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So and
Yeah,
it's
man.
probably like two more chapters. You're gonna work a little bit, or you're not gonna work a little bit, or you're just gonna just go right into retirement, full time retirement, and just live your life.
Yeah,
So it's up to you on which way you want to go with it.
yeah,
So I'm in
definitely.
Yeah.
chapter 2 right now.
But I
Ty,
mean,
Ty, you
everybody, right? Everybody got the. Go ahead, JP. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was saying, you worked a little bit, and you say, I'm retired, and
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause I think that like for me, it was just more like that. Like I'm making money, but I really ain't got time to spend it. So it's like
Right,
backwards. Like
right.
I'm like, what am I doing? So it's
Mm,
just again, it works good for others. It just wasn't working for me. And again, I had to learn I value time more than money. So the time
Hmm.
is everything, man. Like you reach out to certain people, you connect with certain people, and you check on them just to make sure they're good. And everybody, some people are good, some people aren't. Some people are dealing with some things, some people aren't. But the ones that are dealing with some things, you gotta just I just like to check on them, man, because I know how things can get and these times right now today, and it may not be in a financial situation. It can be just like, because when you retire, now you back home. You know, the integration with family. Some people don't do well with that. You got to be able to like understand, like, okay, now you here every day. Are you in the way? Or you want, everybody's like, hey, where y'all at? What y'all doing? Not knowing, hey, they growing up. So it's a lot that goes to it, man. The finances, the family, the medical, all of those things, man. Like, and you still dealing with stuff. You still dealing with stuff to this day. That's why we say, hey, get the help that you need. Don't feel like you got to be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be like, oh yeah, I'm the super chief. Like, yeah, that sounds good, but
Mhm.
it
And
do
nobody
for the
asks you no
moment.
more. No, no,
Right?
nobody
For
asks you
the
no more.
yeah, nobody asking you no more. Like, they like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I got. Oh,
The
you
phone
you
stopped
serve? Oh,
ringing.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
Nobody
it's
needs
just,
you on the eval.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
irrelevant in a
yeah.
sense,
Right,
Your
right?
right,
advice,
right.
your
So that's
advice was valuable yesterday, not today.
yesterday. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I
That's
used to
right.
tell
But they still
people
got to
like,
come see you though. They
yeah,
still
I
got
used
to
to tell
come
people
see
Oh,
you.
the jobs is like you're there temporary. Everything's T80, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
your chair, your office, your position. That you just filling it in for a little bit, and then you're gonna hand it
That's
off to
it.
somebody else. And the
You're gonna
same
hand it
thing,
off to
which is
somebody
so
else.
crazy in a 20, 30-year career, it's gonna be the same thing, right? You're just there
Mm-hmm.
temporary. And the
Mm-hmm.
hope and prayer, I know for myself, was that you made a positive impact on at least one person, right?
Yeah.
hmm
At least one person that you helped. That
Yeah.
while we were
Yeah.
serving, while we out there doing a mission and everything, but at least one person,
Yeah.
because it goes by quick, and then on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
You the new dude,
Mm-hmm.
or you the new girl here? All right, bet. Or you boom, you better than the old one, or whatever.
Right.
I
Right.
hope you don't say that about me when I roll out. That the new dude
Yeah.
better than mine. You know what I mean? But it's all
Right.
temporary, right? And I
Right.
seen that
Right,
too.
right.
When that phone stopped ringing, man, I see it
Yeah,
on
bro.
people's faces where, man, that's all they value was right in that
Yeah.
space. And all right, bet, right? And so
Right.
it, one of the MCPONs, I'll leave him nameless, said, he came in for a training, and people asking the MCPON, how do you get the MCPON, right? People got their notepads out, they ready. Man opened up his mouth, he said, be a good person. People are like, oh
Yeah.
man,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
they upset
Right.
like, you. No, that's not how. But no, he did a whole speech on really be a good
Being a good
person,
person.
right?
hmm
And what that means, right? And how hard it is for some people to be good people,
Yeah.
right?
hmm
And so like all this advice, the finances, just all the checklists and preparing afterwards, that yes, I pray that you get a mentor who's recently retired or retired, that can
Yeah.
help you remember these things, right? And I'm a calendar person. I love to write things down on a calendar, and I still slipped up on a couple things by a few days. But just making sure that you um, stay connected with those people that kind of help you ease into
Mm-hmm.
this new life, this new transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it all starts mentally, really. Mentally,
Yeah.
is it important to you? Why is it important? Or even having those types of like a career development, you know, a seminar, like, hey, you might not even thought about this, right? Thinking
Yeah.
about when are you going to hang it up all together yet? All right, so you got the GS job, which you got out of the military and retired. How long are you going to do that for? Are you going to do the
Mm-hmm.
buyback? Where they tell, what are you talking about? I'm just saying, they do a buyback. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
When does it stop being worth it? You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna
Mm.
go into that, but
Right. Right.
that's a
Right.
whole
Right.
thing,
But you're
right?
right. You're right.
Working for the
Yeah.
government. And then
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
calculate and say, well, damn, I might only have to do this GS thing for about 10 more years. And then I'm good based off the
Right.
calculations, right? And so
Right.
you need to kind of like have those conversations, especially with people who are already doing it. That's why I say like the VAs, because most of them are veterans.
Right.
Most of the VA people that work there are
Yeah.
veterans
Yeah.
already,
Veterans. Yeah. They serve.
right? So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
might be
They
able to
serve
put you
somewhere in
on.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
put you
Yeah.
on, right? Or their spouse
Yeah.
is working. Somehow they might be connected, and they be like, "Man, I'm gonna put you on. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you this game. Boom, like that. Thank you." Like, because as we know, even in LinkedIn or whatever, it's mostly who you know,
Who
right?
you
Like
know?
so partly a networking, especially in the civilian sector,
Right.
right? You just
Man,
you
I'm
just ain't
glad
gonna
you
get
said
orders.
LinkedIn.
Hmm?
on that LinkedIn, take that uniform picture down. Put your professional picture up
Yeah,
there.
put
Don't
your
mean
professional
you're
picture up
not
there.
gonna interview in your dress blues.
Right.
Take that down.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
look good in them. You
let's
look
not just talk about the picture.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah, yeah,
sanitize the title and the job description and everything. You got to take all
yeah,
that DLCPO out. You got to take all
yeah,
that
yeah,
you know watch standing. Take that out. It's
yeah.
not an eval. You got to civilianize that joint. You got to put the civilian terms in there, and I think there's resources for that too. Don't quote me on what those are, but there are
Mm-hmm.
resources that
Mm-hmm.
could translate that for you quickly. What's
Right.
that equivalent to, right? That yeah, that's like HR, or oh yeah, that's like engineering right there. Boom,
Right.
you know what I mean? The translator. So you're absolutely right. And then
Oh, yeah. One more
resume
thing.
writing
Also get
class.
huge, huge. I was gonna say get that professional email because that big dog 2020 whatever it is at yahoo.com. You gotta get a
Yeah.
professional email. Someone had
Look,
to tell
man.
me that
Mm-hmm.
around that 20-year mark, bro. I still was rocking the Yahoo Jazzy JP.
Look,
They
man.
be like,
Right.
no, bro.
I'm still rocking the Hotmail they gave me from the VP9 squadron days in Hawaii. I'm like, why are we hitting this email stuff? What is this email internet stuff? I'm still rocking
Yeah.
that today.
A
But I got
Hotmail
multiple.
account.
I still
Yeah,
got
yeah,
multiple
yeah,
emails,
yeah,
but I still got the
yeah.
Hotmail account. Right.
Right,
So that's
right,
not
right.
gonna work on a LinkedIn or a professional resume. Like, oh, this dude, he done. You're
Yeah,
not
right,
hiring
right, right.
somebody
We know what
just
his
off of that.
mindset is at.
You better
Yeah,
go
we know
with
his
a
mindset.
Gmail, please. You
A
better have a
Gmail,
Gmail.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes,
easy, easy,
sir.
easy. So
Hmm.
you spoke real quick about the having like a mentor. Why would that be so important and helpful? And how long you think that mentor should connect with that person that's about to separate? Like, is it a 12-month, 18-month, or 24-month? What do you recommend?
Um, mentorship in general is a sensitive matter for me because I promoted that for so many years in uniform, and it was more like a hard task. Like I had people lifting heavy weights,
Yeah,
to get the mentorship program running. So I would fall back and say, you know, it's your friend, or somebody you work for beforehand that will be that mentor. Let me first put that out there. So there's no mentorship sign up sheet when you retire. I'm gonna pick this random dude, or like a somebody you don't know. It'd be somebody you
yeah,
do know, and you should be speaking to them as much as you can, like the 24 month, or even for me, before you really decide if you should be retiring or not, if you have the flexibility to
mm,
decide, right? Because it's your decision again. Get as much information as you can before you submit that request, right?
right,
Now, after it's approved and you're coming down to the wire, you should be like, hey, what should I be doing? You got your own checklist, but I feel that mentor is super important once you've gotten out, right?
mm-hmm.
Because like I said, it's weird. We're in this weird space once you get out, right? Like
Right, right,
you kind of find out honestly, and partly who your real friends are, like who you can really call on and talk to, right? Some people it might be awkward to call them, so you can't call them, but you need to talk to that person that I would consider as a friend you feel comfortable with. Hey, just checking in. Hey man, what should I be doing now next, man? What comes after
right,
I walk through the bullets and they sent me on my way? How long is it going to take for them to give me my DD-214? I haven't gotten it yet, and I started terminal. Because even though you're in terminal, you're still kind of actively on the books. Your
yeah.
admin office might not even want to work with you and mess with you, man. Why you calling up here, man? The new dude's already here. We don't got time to. You ain't got no effect on my
Right,
eval,
right,
so I ain't. You're
right,
not a
right,
priority.
right.
So speaking to that mentor to get that insight to keep you grounded, and that might be one of them long-lasting relationships too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, those deadlines that happen within that first 6 months after you get off your contract, after you get your DD-214, your last day, end date, that first 6 months, man, I think those are critical times to speak to somebody who's been there and done that and is willing to give you some good information. And you might have to hit two or three different sources on that because, like I said, I'm a person that love a warm handoff. You can tell me what
Mm-hmm.
you want to tell me, but I need to kind of see it to really
Right.
understand it, especially if it's something I've never done before. And none of us have ever transitioned before we transition. This is all we've known.
Yeah.
We've never
Yeah.
done. You could talk. Your chest could be all broad. I'm ready. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
Right. Right. Right.
But you
Right.
ain't never did it
Right.
before.
You never did it.
Hmm.
Coming through like you an
You never
expert.
did it.
Man, come on,
Right.
man.
Hmm.
Come on. Be real. You know what I
You
mean? It's
have
a
no idea.
struggle.
Like you really have no idea. And although you transition from command to command to command to command to overseas to the states, overseas to the states, back and forth, you never transition out of the military.
I would complain to certain like my admin office a little bit and be like, you got to give some of these sailors grace because they've never PCS or transferred before. They missing this, they missing that. Da, da, da. Hey, they've never done. You do this every day. They've
Yeah,
never done
Hmm.
it. Give them a little bit of grace, man. You know what I'm saying? So imagine now when you're transitioning out, right? Man, look, when you when it comes to that window, my God, man, God bless. So
yeah,
for us, man, I like I say again, I wish there was a mechanism in there to help us, like with the warm handoff. Like I said, a week, honestly, in TGPS class is not enough. There's so much information, and like you might literally have one foot in the game still at your job, your
right.
primary still,
Yeah,
and one foot
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah,
And it's not enough. Like I said, we went through what 8 weeks? They got it on 9 weeks of boot camp, but they give us a week to get out. Yeah, good luck.
Hmm.
No, it's not enough. Right. And like I said, I wish there was like a literally a warm handoff. And I say this, I think I don't know who it is, if it's DFAS, somebody like gave you a call after it's been like a few months since you got out, hey, to check on you. But it's just like a kind of hello, you alive? And it click,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
No, it was the VA for me. It was the VA
I
doing a
think it's
little
the
little
VA,
check,
right?
and they
Yeah,
do it
VA
for a
called
whole
me. Yeah, the
year.
VA called me. Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
think they
Yeah.
call
called me.
you once, but it's like a
Mm.
hello, you alive? All right, click.
Yeah, you good? Yeah.
Like I don't,
Yeah.
Just
I
checking in.
don't
Yeah.
what do we, no, I need more. What is this call for? What am I,
Right,
what do I don't know, sir? You want to, you're free to ask me anything, please. So I know, I don't even, why are you calling me? This is,
right,
hello, you
right,
there?
right, right,
Click.
right, right, right.
Not
Yeah,
enough, B. It's not
yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah.
yeah. Hey man, I definitely appreciate you coming through, man, doing this for me, talking about these things, because you and I talk about them quite often. I definitely want to have you back because you got a lot of information
Oh
that
yeah.
we discussed. But I do have another question for you, but it's not really related to this. It's just like a more spades related question. Like, can you give me a spade? And I'm gonna give you time to think about it because I'm about to talk about something else real quick while you think about it. Like something spades related that you learn how to play. A good time when you was playing on the deployment debt site or whatever like that. Do you have a story like that first before I start?
Well, my story with
Don't
that
give me the
is
story
that,
yet, though. Don't give me a story
oh,
yet.
okay. All right.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
I'm
I'm
about
just
to
saying for you
say,
to think about it. There's something for you to think about. But it ain't got,
yeah.
like I said, I'm gonna use it for something else though. But I'm about to
Okay.
talk about something. JP, you got any other questions about tonight?
No, man, Lloyd did a great job covering
Yeah,
everything and
yeah,
putting out some great advice, dropping some dimes with the VA benefits and stuff, man. And I know he got a ton more stuff, to put out.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
definitely got to have
yeah.
him back on here.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But all right, hey, let me get this quick plug. Hey, go like a Hall of Fame Spades Tournament. Third annual Spades Tournament is going to be in Chesapeake City Park, Saturday, June 13th, 2026. The time is from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. $50 per team. First place winner is $250. Second place winner $50. There's going to be a couple of raffles and giveaways and food trucks on site. That will be Chesapeake City Park, Saturday, June 13th, 2026. Again, $50 per team. First place winners win $250. Second place $50. Also, down in Jacksonville, Florida, the Summer Celebration and Space Tournament will be on July 18th, 2026. That will be at Lake Fretwell Park. Time 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sounds by DJ Coconuts. I just heard the other day the dude is on point with it. So come out there, listen to some good music. $10 to enter, and you get food and all those type of things for your $10. And again, they also holding the space tournament as well. $40 per team. First place wins $100. Second place is $50. And again, you can submit your payments to Cash App. Go GLHOFJAX. Cash App GLHOFJAX. That's for both parties. Again, summer celebration July 18th, 2026. Lake Fretwell Park. Come out, just have a good time. Again, if you don't know how to play spades, just come out, hang out, tell some stories, help each other out with some good information with the benefits process, because that's what all of us actually need to help each other out and doing this, becoming a veteran process. So come out, have a good time, just relax, sit back, enjoy yourself. Again, you want to bring something to drink, sip, smoke, whatever. Just come out, do what
And
you
that's for
do, and
everybody,
everybody have
right,
a good
Ty?
time. That's
It's for
everybody. It's
everybody,
for
not just
every
retirees.
single, yeah,
There you
not just for
go.
retirees, active duty people as well, and their family members. So come out, have a good time. Thank you for that plug too, JP. So yeah, so give me your spades
Yeah,
um story. Something like I said, when you first learned how to play.
I feel
Uh
like the first time I played was on deployment, right?
huh.
Overseas. I think my heart's saying like we were in like Misawa somewhere, and it was just an opportunity for us to bond. People were complaining because we were slamming the cards down, talking big stuff. People almost want to get physically confrontational
Yeah.
based off of how you throwing the cards down, is talking mad smack, right?
Right.
And it was just a great time, man, to kind of like just bond. And for me personally, I had to find a couple of different partners because your partner, failed to deliver.
Right.
Especially when they learning too, and you like, man, you done shorted us. And now we are in the hole,
Yeah.
and you damn sure don't want to get off the table, right? You just like, it's time for you to get up, find a new location, a zip code, right? So for
Right.
me, spades is timeless, man. Like an opportunity for us to really, especially when you don't have a lot of things to do or options, especially back then. Like now they got electronics and video games galore, but when
Right.
all you had was maybe a set of dominoes and some cards, yeah,
Mm.
the spades was on there, bro, and getting the right partner to communicate and people cheating, you know what I'm saying? And, we find a way, hey
We find a
man.
way.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
find a way, bro. But that's
Oh,
the
nice.
deal, man. I look forward to it, man. This was a pleasure. It's like I feel like giving back a little bit, which is important for all of us to do. So yeah, I look forward to it. Next time, and hopefully I
Yeah.
could be out there at that Spades tournament. And do my thing
Okay.
in July.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
For
down to
sure.
Jax. Give us some
Yeah.
love out here.
For sure, man. Again, man. Thanks, and I appreciate you, brother.
No doubt.
All
Same
right.
here. All
Hold on
right.
one sec. Hold on. I just gotta make sure I finish uploading.